Oh, wait, no, that's just Jordan.
I'm back, baby.
He's back. Ladies and gentlemen, after 17 months, uh, 2 world wars, and an economic collapse, and then a rebuilding, we are now in a utopia where Jordan Sloan is back on the recap show. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, dude, it's going really well. I am officially a girl dad. I am showing off the t-shirt not for the first time today. It says girl dad, and then it says hashtag outnumbered, which is accurate. In fact, most of the animals in this house are girls too. So,
And how many animals is that?
let's see, 2 cats, fish, a bird, a dog. Am I forgetting something? There's an emu back in the shed. That one's not ours though. That belongs to the neighbor. It's the one from the commercial, the
So
Limu
you
emu.
stole your
Yeah.
neighbor's emu. Okay.
But
Yeah, we
also
did.
a woman.
But also a
Yes.
woman bird.
Yes.
And I hope no emu experts are listening. I know they don't like to be called woman birds.
Yeah.
Jordan had to have a daughter. He had to have a child so that his dad jokes would be legit.
Yeah. That is fair. His sense of humor
Yeah.
just didn't make sense, and now we can accept him.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
Thank
welcome
you.
back, buddy. It's great to have you.
Well, it's great to be here. Now I would do the intro, but I'm sort of lost. Where are we? Why don't I give it a try? Don't cut any of this. Let me try it from the top, okay? Here we go. Hey guys, welcome. I am back. You're back. Well, you never left. This is the episode of the recap show.
15th.
Today, this is the what?
14th.
14th episode of the recap show. Thank you so much. We had some guest on who was talking about something, and it was emotional.
Best ever.
It was awesome. Yeah, and it's my favorite one yet. Don't
It's my
forget,
favorite one yet.
That was your signature line.
I felt things with feelings, and I thought things with my brain noodle, and it was fantastic.
So just to fill in the gaps with his dad Brain, now that he's full girl dad, we had Dr. Philip J. Stearns on to talk about Empires Incorporated, his book about British corporations and British colonialism. And man, what an episode to come back to, dude.
Yeah, it's intense and incredibly relevant. I loved it. I was just telling Lynn earlier how dense I thought it was because there's a lot of information and so much of it is relevant to today that I was like, wait, hold on, I want to make sure I understood that. And
Right.
I really loved it.
I honestly, I feel like, that was my dog flapping her ears in case you hear that weird sound. There was so much stuff that we could have done and so much further we could have gone. He has such a wealth of knowledge. We could have talked with Phil for, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, he was a great guest. I know. I'm not going to say my tried and true line of this is my favorite yet. But it is true. It actually was one of my favorite, and I'll tell you why. Because it's a conversation that I have constantly, and it keeps coming up because we talk about corporations. I don't make it too political, but we basically had a corporation run for president or be president. As the last president, and it brought up this conversation about voting and people's interests and conflicts of interest. And it was cool to see. Phil kept saying patterns. And he kind of said it as like a byproduct of the deeper conversation, but I thought it was really important because, patterns, if you look at history, it all kind of repeats. Now, I don't know if that means if we don't learn from it, we're doomed to repeat, or if it makes me feel better that it's like, this isn't just a modern day problem and we're all crazy people. That's like, well, it's been this way forever, so maybe it just looked a little bit different. It's just, again, super interesting. It makes me feel better and worse, maybe. Like, have we not grown? But at the same time, we haven't grown. We're the same.
It's the same but different.
But different.
Lynn, yeah, I see you. I see you laying in wait over there.
The same but different. Yes, history
Yeah,
repeats itself, and no one's ever said that before. So, copyright, Lynn. History
yeah.
does repeat itself. And
Uh,
those of us who
History
know it
repeats itself.
are
TM.
doomed to sit
TM.
back and watch it repeat itself,
Yeah.
sadly, and with indigestion.
Well, I wasn't trying to say something as surface level as that so much as I was saying I
It's true, though.
feel better
It's
knowing that we're
Now
not
get deeper, but
alone.
it's true.
Yeah.
and to quote Dr. Rosemary Zagari, progress isn't linear, right?
That's right.
And I think he said something to the effect of, great great grandchildren still kind of look like their great great grandfather, right? So things
Mm-hmm.
still remain from the past, and honestly, like the past we're talking about really isn't even that far away. Um, so it
Right. If
is,
you listen to the episode, you'll hear a lot of things where you could easily just, take the year and change it to 21st century easily.
yeah. Now, something that I thought that kind of God, I don't want to say take my breath away. I did karaoke like last week, and I was like, take my breath. All right, we're not going to do that. Is that
That's
when
another video.
Yeah. That's on our never mind. Uh,
Check out YouTube.
Yeah, that's our private YouTube channel. Too complicated for history karaoke sessions.
Love it.
Yeah, coming soon. Was that corporations weren't trusted because they couldn't have a soul, and like in the past they were viewed as an
Mhm.
entity, but they don't have a soul. So how can we trust them?
Which
And
I find interesting because I know a lot of people with souls who I don't trust. So it's interesting that
that is such a good point,
that
Lynn.
assumes
Yeah.
that you trust people when they have a soul just because
Sure.
they have a soul. So,
That's a good point.
know.
Well, the way I immediately thought of it when it was discussed was person versus people. It's not so much
Mhm.
person versus corporation. Any individual, I think you can find redeeming qualities about, but then you put them all. You talk about people. People can have this good or bad, and I talk about this a lot with friends and family when it was about COVID. That every individual was doing the right thing. It was people that were ruining it for everyone, right? And every person was washing their hands and wearing a mask, more or less. I'm not trying to get into a whole political debate, but people weren't doing it. And it's just interesting that the problem and the solution is the same thing, just viewed in a different context, which is that the person is there and they're part of the problem. They're on your, or the solution. They're on your side. They're fighting with you. The corporation is bad, but who do they
Well,
work for? They work
so
for a
really,
company, and that company. Yeah, go ahead.
really quick, I did just want to jump in because I don't think corporations are necessarily good or bad in either way, right? Like, I don't think we're necessarily positing that corporations are bad. I mean, they, I think we're trying to figure out like,
What are
they're
they?
just, what are they? Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so like, not to, totally change the direction here, but I did just want to make sure we didn't go down, uh, a good or bad, right? Because I
Mhm.
think part of it is because they can be both really good, really bad. Like he talks about Disney and like governing over people right now,
Mhm.
and like, I mean, in some regards, okay, that could be good. Maybe they're going to govern their people better than a government could because they have more resources, they have more money, they have land that they control. But also, should they? Like, does that
Right.
make them a country or a state? And it's like, no, they're a corporation, which also isn't a person, but also can do things that people can do. I think Isaac brought it up, or maybe it was a conversation we had after, but like, I think in Delaware, corporations are going to be able to start voting.
Right.
What?
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 And that's where the problem comes in, that it matters whether or not it's a person or something else, because corporations, it seems these days, are trying to claim benefits that individuals possess, those
Right.
benefits. But corporations, like Jordan said, they're people. They're made up of people. but they aren't. They're a person who can't die. I know that Phil mentioned that they can't die because it can be passed on. That identity can be passed on, and so why should this undiable soulless person have the same rights as a living individual?
And would you feel differently if there was an expiration? Like if every time there was a change of power that had to be readdressed?
I think so, right? Because like
I wouldn't give them the powers of an individual person because they don't die. So yeah, they would have to. You'd have to reevaluate. But go on, Pat.
I am trying, but I have this monster right next to me, who's being very silly. Which
Don't talk about your wife that way.
Thank you, Jordan, because I almost did it. I'm like,
man. I just sorry. It's just it's
Sorry
I'm
to
like-
the editor.
yeah. I'm so blown away by like the madness that is a corporation, and like if it did die or there was limiting power, right? Like that does change your perspective on it. I mean, it's one of the ways I think he was talking about like the Catholic religion or like the papacy. Papacy?
it's not papacy.
It's not papacy.
I'll tell you what it's not.
I'll tell you
Papacy.
What you said.
the papacy.
Yeah.
Forgive me, God.
Popple
I'm not a
seed.
historian. Popple. All right, this is a mess. They were actually able to continue transferring power as a corporation, right? And so, like, that meant that the institution that they were could continue without a physical body being needed. And it's like, God, it's so weird. It's like it is almost religious in nature. I'm not going to say, I don't want to say that in the sense of, you're believing in something bigger. And I know that sounds crazy, but there's a documentary, I forget which one it was a while ago, but it is a greater, like, we all know what Best Buy is, but Best Buy isn't a person. We all know what Target is, but it's not a person. Like, yes, Jeff Bezos is at the head of Amazon, but if Jeff Bezos passed away today, Amazon's still going, right?
Yeah, Steve Jobs, Apple. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Apple, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Is that a good? Is that a
You
good?
need
dad
a kid
joke?
in order to
Did I
start
do
making
it?
those.
Did
Yeah.
Did that work? Okay.
Someone get this man a kid. Here's the thing. If you, yeah, I hope that came through. If
It did.
Here's the thing, and again, I don't mean to bring it back to this, but I'll die on this sword. It's important. It really is important to me. Is if we had this conversation at different times over the course of the last several hundred years, this would be a totally different conversation. And what I mean is that we inherently are having this conversation through the lens of corporations being what they are today. It's impossible not to. If they were, let's just say, for argument's sake, for hypothetically, if corporations were intrinsically good, every time I hear the word corporations, I think, wow, I love these guys. They're doing the right thing. They're putting their money and their power and their voting into things that better humanity. Then this conversation would look totally different. The fact of the matter is, the reason why we're talking about it in the way we are is because when you hear that word, corporation, it has that feeling, corporation. It evokes that, like,
we didn't practice that, by the way, folks. They did that. They didn't practice that.
No, that's called synchronized corporating. But it has that feeling. You know what I mean? We're sort of skirting around it, but it really does. It wouldn't be a problem that they had these powers of people if we felt like they were looking out for the people. The fact of the matter is, it's a problem to us because we are afraid of what that power means.
Shh. You go, Lynn.
You actually set it up perfectly for something that Dr. Stern said, that he said, if you look at the world today, clearly it's tough to get even a small group of people to agree on something, right?
Disagree.
These corporations are...
Sorry.
I disagree with everything you said, Jordan. That we can agree on. So if today we think, okay, you can't even get a small group of people to agree, and then you're calling this large group of people that is a corporation one person, clearly all of those people in that corporation are not agreeing on the same thing. So there may be some evil people and there may be some wonderful people in that corporation, but someone in that corporation is making final decisions on like voting
Right.
or whatever it is those individual rights are. So even if there's one bad popple seed in a corporation, they could be the one on top who
No,
are
it's
doing the
true.
voting. And so
Well, you
that's-
might even
that's-
argue, okay, so then who has the final say? The CEO? Well, what comes to mind when I talk about most CEOs of major corporations?
All right, all right.
Okay, we're going down to okay. Is this
I'm
too
just
much?
it's no, it's fine. It's fine. It is a curious thing, but like, you know, you also have to remember that there's like the scale of the corporation, like a single person can become incorporated, and technically that is a corporation.
Sure.
Right? It's super weird how that's different, and I do think, you know, it just comes down to scale, scope, you know, power, and that, and it's, I don't necessarily look at all corporations as bad, or like what they're doing, or if there's one or two bad papal seeds and whatever. Never gonna live that one. Never gonna live that one down. It's just this is such a convoluted conversation, and I think it's because there's no defining. Oh my goodness!
Sorry.
This episode is crazy, crazy. None of this is coming out. Is like we don't. It's so hard to define what it is and understand it because it's such a abstract idea.
Yes.
Is that Mikey?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So Mikey, Lynn, Pat, if
he's like, as long as Meow Mix is still good, we are.
We're not talking about
like,
Meow Mix here, are we?
Yeah.
yeah. Take
Sponsored
down
by
big cat food.
Exactly.
Listen, what do we want? Chicken liver.
Please deliver.
Please deliver. Oh my God, guys. Man. The only thing that changed is I'm back, so clearly I'm the one who's ruining the show. Listen,
I wouldn't say ruining so much as, you know, totally
elevating,
destroying.
Yeah, elevating,
elevating to new heights.
Do corporations have a stronger voting power than an individual, or do they just count as one vote? Because if that's the case, then what is the power that a corporation has to vote more than any other individual? It's just one voice, so to speak.
I have no idea what those implications are, and let's save that philosophical conversation for
a whole
next time.
It's definitely something I do want to talk about, but
we'll bring Phil Stern back.
Yeah,
and we can talk about that.
We'll get his perspective. I would love to do a little bonus episode with him.
Yeah,
just ask him.
Right.
Just throw questions at him. If anyone has any questions for Phil Stern,
put them in the comments.
Please put them in the comments. Yeah.
I also want to ask him what corporations he utilizes. Where does he shop?
Yeah, because he doesn't use socials.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, on that note, and in the interest of time, because we will keep going down into new and improved philosophical debates and quagmires and improved. We're gonna wrap this one out. Also, I'm in my new space, so no one commented on that. Thanks a lot, guys.
Good background.
Yeah,
thanks.
It's great. Yellow is definitely your color, and I'm loving that shirt. I feel like I didn't realize they had microphones like that in the 70s, but hey.
Yeah, exactly.
Your internet connection's great.
I'm back in the mid-century, baby. Woo! Flew right in.
Coming at you live from 1973, it's Pat!
I know, I need one of those big, fat, old metal mics. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah. All right, so go check out our show. It came out. It's everywhere you get podcasts, featuring Dr. Philip J. Stern. Jordan will be definitely running the next one. Get his brain back and take up all the pieces.
Jordan's in charge.
And it's 2c4hpod.com. Check us out on iTunes, YouTube, Odyssey app, Google Podcasts, Spotify. We have some really exciting stuff coming up and some really big announcements. So if you've made it this far, just know that like in the next like week or two, some really fun stuff on our end is coming out. Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Now hit that subscribe button. I'm pointing, but I don't know if it's in the camera.
Ba-ding.
And stay tuned.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.